Yes, welcome back, children. Last sessions we discussed about the history first lesson, how, when, and where. Okay, so it is the introduction of the modern history, that is colonial period, full of after the Britishers to till date. Okay, so this 15 minutes you're going to a small recap about the lessons, resources in geography first, and the civics also. Yes, what is called resources? Anything on earth which is necessary for human survival and also it satisfies the human need is called a resources. I already explained you what is gift. Okay, we should keep the things we keep safely if anyone given to us, that's called gift. So like that, nature also given lot of gifts to us, that's called resources. Okay, so here a proper definition: anything on earth which is necessary for human survival and satisfy the human need is called here resources. Here, types of resources. Okay, what are the types of resources? We know that natural resources, man-made resources, and human resources. That is human-made resources and human resources. Natural resources, man-made resources, and human resources. That human itself are resources. Okay, that first natural resources is divided. How? Into biotic, renewable resources and non-renewable resources. The natural resources is classified into their exhaustibility and their formation. Okay, that farming of that natural resources and their usage, that is utility. Okay, in that way it was classified. It is classified according to their formation. The natural resources was classified biotic, abiotic, according to their exhaustibility, renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Renewable means recharge, non-renewable means cannot recharge. We cannot if once we completed that resource, we unable to made it or produce it or replenish it within a period. But renewable resources means if once it will not complete and we can renew it, we can replenish it within a short period. That means once lifespan's time. Okay. Yes. Renewable resources. Renewable resources are those which get renewed or replenished quickly. Some of these resources are in limited and are not affected by human activities such as solar and wind energy. That is good example for the renewable resources. Then some examples are electricity taken from wind and water. Then non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources are those which have limited stock. Okay, once the stocks are exhausted, it may take thousands of years to be renewed or replenished. Some examples are coal, petroleum, metals, and natural gases. Children, do you understand what is renewable and non-renewable? Non-renewable we can use. There is no limited. It is unlimited stocks. Example: electricity taken from the wind and the solar energy. Here you say some examples for non-renewable resources. We have taken that coal, petroleum, metals, and natural gas. If once these resources completed over on the earth in a place, then we will not make it within a short time or in a lifespan time, one person's lifespan time. Okay, it takes more than 1,000 years to form again. Then what is called man-made resources? Okay, first we saw that natural resources. That natural resources we saw that according to that exhaustibility, renewable resources and non-renewable resources, and also it was classified biotic and non-biotic. The next one is human-made resources. What is called human-made resources? Because some resources are unable to make, some resources are not, we are using, but it is not made by nature. Okay, that resources are called human-made resources. For example, we take the electricity from the solar, okay, sun, but we want to use that energy to glowing a bulb or whatever. That's without human we cannot make. So some resources made by the humans, that's called human-made resources. These resources are created by human beings from materials available in the environment. They in turn are used for the production of other resources, tools, machines, buildings, and other infrastructures or examples of man-made resources. Yes, children? Okay, yes. That examples, tools, machines, buildings, and other infrastructures are examples of man-made resources. Then at last, human resources. Okay, humans resources. Listen, children, natural things only available. When it started to use by the humans, it's getting the name resources. Here we are saying that human itself a resource. Human resource include the quantity as well as the quality of the people. By quantity, we mean the distribution and the density of the population, and by quality, we mean the physical and mental abilities of the people. Okay, what is the human resources? It is by the distribution of the quantity and quality. Quantity means a number of people, quality means their mental ability of the people. Then resource conservation. How to use the conservation, balancing the need to use resource and also conserve them for the future is called sustainable development. Yes, that I told them. Within three, we can use these three things to conserve the natural resources. That is reduce, reuse and recycle. Okay. Yes, children, shall we go to the civics now? Yes, the first chapter for us civics, that is the Indian Constitution. First, you want to know what is Constitution. We need, that means every people in the country or a country need laws in society. So our society can regulate and work properly. They are designed to protect us and our property and to ensure that everyone in society behaves the way that the community expects them to. Laws tell us what to expect as a consequence of our actions. Laws have been the glue that has kept society together. Without laws, there would be complete anarchy. That means a confusion. Then what is constitution? A society has some fundamental rules, some basic rules that makes it what it is and differentiate it from other societies. That in large societies that like India, okay, like India, in large societies where people of different communities live together, the rules are made through consensus. Okay. Okay, where that rules, these rules are usually available in written form. Okay, a written document which contains the fundamental rules is called a constitution. Yes, children, I already explained to you that a game need the rules, that consecutive rules. That means basic rules, how to play the game. What are the things they want to do in the game while they are playing, and what are the things they should not do, they do not do. Okay, that everything given, framed already. Okay, that's are called constitutive rules for the games. The same like there is a lot of rules to the country and his people and the rulers. That's called constitution. That means it is already framed. A written documents which contains the fundamental rules is called a constitution. Okay, we taken the Nepal democracy as example because Nepal moves from a monarchy. Already they were in the monarchy. Already they have the monarchy government, but they did not like it because that government did not do any welfare for the country's people. So they decided to change their constitution because previous constitution does not reflect the ideals of the country that the citizens want Nepal to be. So they changed. Then we can see the Indian constitution. After the Indian independence from British rule, Indians decided to free should be democracy. We feel that our legends started to frame the constitutions. That time they are facing a lot of problems because our country is included lot of religions and all the religions is a major problem, and that time so many places declared as a princely states, that also was lot of problems, and how to divide the country into states. For example, a type of people, tribals, peasants, and educated people, to how we can give the constitution. So India was facing difficult situations when they frame their own constitution. In a democratic societies, the constitutions often lays down rules that guard against this misuse authority by these are the important points by our political leaders. The Indian Constitution guarantees the right to equality to all persons and says that no citizen can be discriminated against on grounds of religion, race, caste, gender, and place of birth. The right to equality is one of the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Indian Constitution. Then, key features of the Indian Constitution: federalism, parliamentary form of government, separations of power, fundamental rights and directive principles, secularism. Federalism means the government is divided its power into different levels. In our India, we have 3 levels of government: central, state, and panchayat, that is local government. Okay, federalism means the government or the constitution divides its power into different level. Okay, that's called federalism. Our constitutions divide the power into 3 level: central government, state government, and local government. Then separation of power. Okay, the constitution separates its power: legislative, judiciary, executive. Legislative, it makes the law. Legislative is the body, it makes the law for the country. Judiciary is the body, it interprets the law. Executive, it enforces the law. Then fundamental rights and directive principles. The section on fundamental rights referred to the conscience, that means a moral power or moral sense of the Indian Constitution. It protects citizens against the state as well as other individuals. The Constitution also guarantees right for the minorities against the majority. Then at last, secularism. The fundamental principle of secularism. Secularism means a country should not give importance for any particular religion. A country or the constitution should treat the religions what are all practiced by the country's people equally. Okay, children, that is called secularism. Okay, dears, next week you're going to attend the periodic assessment. There is a 40 marks question paper will come for you in the online. So do it in a proper way. Think and do. It is easy for you. Yes, children. Thank you. Bye. Take care.